Good afternoon. It is 4:15. Let's bring the Historic District Commission meeting to order. Today is January 9th, 2025. The notice of this hearing was published on the Friday, December 27th edition of the Fairfield Citizen. Let's go ahead and take attendance. Art Gravanes.
Here.
George Clark.
Here.
Jim Accomando.
Here.
Jim Bohan.
Here.
Darren Raymond Locke.
Here.
Okay. And I am Rosina Negron, the chairman. Absent today is Maura Garrick. And because all the commissioners are here today, there is no alternate voting sequence. The first item in the agenda is Sasquatch Association for Village or Laura Lawlor for a property located at 33 Main Street, Southport, Connecticut. Is there anyone here that's going to present?
Yes, Rosina, this is Jack Franzen. I'm here to represent Sasquatch for the application.
Go
And
ahead.
I would like to share my screen if I might.
Yes.
Can you see it now?
Yes.
Okay, great. Okay, so we're talking about 33 Main Street. This is the beautiful classic New England salt box house that's at the Five Corners intersection right near the business district of Southport. The principal elevation faces towards the intersection. And our proposal is to remove the existing aluminum storm windows and screens, which look like this, which are not my favorite appurtenance on historic houses, but they're very functional. This is being done in conjunction with window replacement that has been already approved by means of a repair order. Suffice it to say that the existing storm screen combinations, there was nothing like that, in the 18th century. And I'm sure people suffered, a lot from, I'm sure there were even more mosquitoes at that time. But this is an opportunity to do something different, and we'd like to remove these. And because of the fact that the new windows are insulated glass, simulated divided light, the windows will not need storms. So what we're proposing is to do half screens. There will be aluminum half screens. And this photo that I have shows an entire full screen, but our intention is to just have the lower half of the sash screened. And that way you see the architecture of the upper sash. And most people, when they open the windows, they open just the bottom anyway. Also, we are proposing only to install 5 of these screens because the house, has, a very major presence in downtown Southport, and we don't need screens on every window. What we're proposing to do is to have screens, the half screens on the 2 gable ends. So that would be this end here, which faces away from the Five Corners. And then this gable that faces towards Rose Hill. And then this one little single window on the southerly side of the house. All the other windows will not have screens. We chose these locations because of the fact, again, as I pointed out, we didn't want to put any screens on the principal elevation facing the Five Corners. And that's really it. So I'd be happy to answer any questions that you might have.
Okay, thank you very much. Darren Raymond Locke, do you have any questions?
None for me. Thank you.
Okay. Art Gravanes.
No, thank you.
George Clark.
Nice presentation, Jack. No questions. Thank you very much.
Jim Accomando,
None for me, thank you.
Jim Bohan,
No questions, Jack. Thank you. Excuse me.
and I also don't have any questions. Thank you for the presentation. We did not receive any letters in favor of this applications or any letters opposing this application. So the hearing is now closed.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next application is Drew Coyne, 175 Old Post Road, Fairfield, for a property located at 175 Old Post Road for replace garage door with new wood garage door. Is there anyone here to present?
I'm here, Drew Coyne, representing the household.
Thank you.
Perfect. So I'm trying to share, and let's see if this works. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Perfect. So we are in the market for replacing our old garage door. So just for context, we are at the corner of Old Post Road and Avalon Court toward the end of the Circle Diner end of the Old Post Road. The garage door sits on Avalon Court towards the end right here. This is the front facing part of the house right here. We are replacing it with a wood door from the Heritage Classic E series, or proposing to do that. It is a wood door, I believe, just natural wood. I'm not sure the exact materials. I think it's hemlock and fir, but I've included those specs for your review and consideration. We will be painting it with the same color as the house, as is. The visual of the door here, it's a 10 by 8 door. We are looking to keep with the character of the house, but upgrade it a little bit with a little bit more of the design and including windows at the top versus what we've had before. And I've also included here a visual from the corner of Avalon Court and Old Post. You can't really see, it's way down here would be the area of the garage door replacement. And then if you were to go down Avalon Court, this is what the garage door currently looks at is. So again, trying to replace it with a wood door to maintain the historic accuracy, but also elevate it a little bit from where we've had it before.
Okay. Is that it for your presentation?
That is my presentation.
Thank you very much.
My pleasure.
Darren Raymond Luck, do you have any questions?
No, I'd like to thank you for a very straightforward application.
Doing my best.
Art Gravanis, do you have any questions?
No, thank you, Rosina.
George Clark?
Nope, that was pure and simple, clean and sweet.
Our best to you. Thank you for your service.
James Accomando?
No questions, looks great, thank you.
Thank
Jim
you.
Bohan?
No questions, Rosina.
And I don't have any questions. Thank you very much. There were no letters in favor of this application, nor any letters opposing this application. So this hearing is now closed. Thank you.
Stay warm, team. Thank you.
The next application is Andrew and Claudia Wilbur, 227 Main Street, Southport, Connecticut, for a property located at 227 Main Street for add a railing to the left side of the front walk so that there is a railing extending the length of the front steps. Is there anyone here to present?
Yes, I'm Linda Batchelder, and I'm the architect, Baker Batchelder Architects, representing Claudia and Andrew Wilbur. Let me just share the screen. Trying to share. 1 second.
Okay.
You'll get there.
Are you able to see now?
No.
Share. Do I have to be in the app in order to share?
It basically, if you are on WebEx,
Yeah.
it should have a share tab at the bottom.
And I
Of
just
the
drop it
screen?
in.
Will you like me to share for you?
If you would share for me, that would be great. Thank you.
Okay.
Oh, I found it.
You got it?
I do believe so. It's, are you-
So instead of sharing the WebEx, go into sharing either the document or the Microsoft. There,
yes,
can
it
see
says
it.
I'm sharing my screen.
Yes,
There it is.
Okay, thank you. Apologize for that.
no problem.
Okay, so here's my application describing the railing that we'd like to add to the front steps on one side. And let me just break it down so it's a little easier. This is a picture of the whole house. I realized I hadn't submitted that. And these are the two railings that are there. So as part of the application, this is the existing railings, and we're looking to, on the left side, put in a new railing. And the top and the bottom of the existing railing has a decorative part. And what we'd like to do is just leave this existing intact historic 20th century and then move on to something a little bit more simple. And as I'm switching through my screens, are you seeing the different screens?
Yes,
Okay, thank you. So in drawing, here's the existing screen railing at the top on the right. And below that, we're separating the new railing from the existing and bringing it up in a simple pipe railing. It'll be painted to match. And then going along, and at the bottom, we're just putting in a simple arc so that somebody at the bottom of the steps has the railing to grab onto, because we'd like to run the new pipe railing verticals into the stone, just as the ones at the top run into the brick and into the wood deck at the very top. And we're using the loop design because the building codes today feel that the existing condition at the top and the bottom are not the safest conditions. And we've been always encouraged to what they call return a railing. So not leave that end that you could catch a coat or a purse on. And so we've looped the very bottom of this railing. And these are the joints that we're going to be using, we're proposing. So they're articulated, but they are not as fancy as the existing. The thought is that we'll leave the existing as the most ornate part. And this will be a little bit just slightly lighter in weight and slightly less decorative. And that was it.
okay. Thank you very much. Darren, do you have any questions?
No questions for me. Thank you so much.
Art Gravanis, do you have any questions?
No. Hey, with
George Clark, do you have any questions?
I think I'm fine with it. Looks good.
Okay.
Thank you.
Jim Accomando, do you have any questions?
No questions, thanks.
Jim Bohan?
In my advancing years, I applaud addition of stuff like this. So thank you very much. Looks good.
Thank
No
you.
questions.
I don't have any questions either, so thank you very much. We did not receive any letters in favor of this application, not any letters opposing this application. So this hearing is now closed. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
And the last application is Eleanor Cunningham, 515 Old Post Road, Fairfield, Connecticut, for a property located at 515 Old Post Road, for adding a 4-season porch to the left side of the house. Is there anyone here to present this application?
Good evening, committee. Here representing the homeowner, Eleanor Cunningham. I'm sorry, were you able to hear me?
We were able to hear you. Now we just need to see your
Perfect.
presentation. Thank you.
Oh, sorry. Okay, let me start sharing. Okay. So I'm going to start with my application. We have know if you can see this well.
Now we can.
Yep.
Yeah, okay. So we have an application for a four-season porch. This is the front of my application. On the side of the house, we already have a patio in the area in which we wish to construct this addition. And we have pictures. This is the back of the house. This is where we would like to construct the four-season porch. We have the survey. I believe you don't need to see the survey, right? Or
Yeah.
would you need to see the survey?
You can show the entire
This is a
application,
survey
so-
with. Okay, this is the proposed, where a patio exists now, and we are proposing to do it on top of the new patio. Okay, this is a picture of the front of the house with the front, the complete front elevation, as well as in the application.
We lost Mariana for a second, so let's wait.
Do like versus. This is what it is now
We
versus.
lost Mariana. Excuse me. We lost you, and we no longer can see your application.
Oh, apologies.
That's okay.
Let me see why. Okay, I have to reshare. I apologize.
That's okay.
I will go back there. Okay. Are you able to see it now?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay. So we have the complete existing front elevation versus what we are proposing to do, which this is what we would be able to see from the front of the house. This is like this is in the back side, but you can still see this little area here from the front. And is this, which side is this? I think this, I believe this is the back. Yeah, this is the back with the door here. No, I apologize. Oh, this is the right elevation. Nothing is going to change on the right elevations. And this is the rear existing elevation versus the new addition. It's hard to keep both on the same page. Let me see if I can minimize a little bit. Okay, there you go. All right, so this is what it is now from the back, and this is the proposed. This is the double door, 2 windows, and I know we accommodated the windows specifications to try to reach closest to the one we have now. Since this is a 4-season porch, we try to do our best in order to keep it, keep the sunlight in, as well as try to follow the same standards that we have existing. And this is the existing left elevation, and this is the proposed left elevation. So this is what it is now. They have 2 doors, and they are coming off. And this is what's going to be with the windows. You don't need to see the layout, right?
No, the
Just the-
interior.
No.
Okay. So this sums it up. Let me see if I missed something. No, this is another, again, the existing area right there. And all the materials being used will follow as the handbook that we have for the homeowner handbook. And that's about it.
Thank you very much. Darren, do you have any
Thank you.
questions?
No questions for me. Thank you.
Art, do you have any questions?
No, thanks.
George, do you have any questions?
I would question on the windows. All wood, all wood, HTC approved.
I apologize. Is that a question to us?
That is. the question.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So they're all
It's
wood.
the same one we discussed on the pre-application meeting as well.
Right, I remember. Yep, very well. Okay, so no, I don't have any questions.
Jim Accomando,
None for me. Thank you.
Jim Bohan,
No questions. Thank you very much.
And I do not have any questions. Thank you very much. We did not receive any letters in favor of this application nor any letters opposing this application. So this hearing is now closed. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So we are now moving for the consideration of the public hearing. The first item in the agenda, Sasquatch Association for Village CO Laura Lawlor for a property located at 33 Main Street, Southport, Connecticut. A, new half screens. B, remove existing storms. Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve as submitted.
And I'll second it.
Second.
That was George second.
Yep.
Okay. So Darren makes the motion, George seconds. Any discussion? Hearing no discussion, let's take a vote. All in favor?
I'm sorry, my camera's not working. I'm in favor.
So Darren, Art, George, Jim, and myself, all in favor. There's no one opposed, so the motion passes unanimously. The next item in the agenda, Drew Coyne, 175 Old Post Road, for a property located at 175 Old Post Road in Fairfield to replace garage door with new wood garage door. Is there a motion?
I'll make a
Motion to
motion
approve.
as submitted.
Second.
So that was George
And Darren.
and Darren. Okay, thank you.
Each other.
Is there any discussion? Hearing no discussion, let's take a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
That will be Darren, Art, George, Jim, Accomando, and myself.
Right.
There's no one opposed, so the motion passes unanimously. The next item in the agenda, Andrew and Claudia Wilbur, 227 Main Street, Southport, Connecticut, for a property located at 227 Main Street in Southport. Item A, add railing to the left side of the front walk so that there is a railing extending the length of the front steps. Is there a motion?
Yeah, Art will make a motion to approve that item as presented.
And I'll second it. You can have it, Jared.
Oh, thanks, George.
So Darren seconds. Is there any discussion? Hearing no discussion, let's take a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So that will be Darren, Art, George, Jim, Accomando, and myself. There's no opposition, so the motion passes unanimously. And the last item is Eleanor Cunningham, 515 Old Post Road, Fairfield, Connecticut, for a property located at 515 Old Post Road. Item A, adding a 4-season porch to the left side of the house. Is there a motion?
I'll make the motion to approve.
That's Jim. Anyone seconds?
Yeah, Art will second.
Okay. Is there any discussion? Hearing no discussion, let's take a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
So Darren, Art, George, Jim, and myself. There's no one opposed, so the motion passes unanimously. That closes the considerations of the public hearing. We're gonna now move to all the other items in the agenda. We're gonna approve minutes. There was 1 minute that I did not include in the agenda. However, it was sent to everyone. Is there a motion to add the draft minutes from 12/16/2024 to the agenda by any chance?
I'll make an motion to add the draft minutes from what date?
12/16.
12/16/2024 to the agenda.
Is there anyone that seconds?
I'll second it.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Everyone's in favor. So the motion passes. So let's start with 11/20/2024. The meeting was attended by Rosina Negron, Art Gravanis, George Clark, Maura Garrick, and Jim Bohan. Is there a motion?
Motion to approve those.
Anyone seconds?
Yeah, I'll second it.
Let's take a vote. All in favor? Everyone's in favor, so the motion passes. The next one is the meeting for 12/12/24, attended by Rosina Negron, Darren Raymond Locke, George Clark, Art Gravanis, Jim Accomando, Maura Garrick, and Jim Bohan. Is there a motion to approve the draft minutes?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
That was Jim Accomando.
Or second. Yep.
Okay, thank you. Let's take a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Jim Bohan, are you voting on this one?
Yes, yes. I'm sorry. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. So everyone approves. The motion passes unanimously. And the last one is the special meeting for 12/16/2024. Attended in that meeting was Rosina Negron, Darren Raymond Locke, Jim Accomando, Jim Bohan, and George Clark. Is there a motion?
Motion to approve.
Yeah, Art seconds.
Jim A. and Art. Is there any discussion? No discussion. Let's take a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Everyone. So the motion passes unanimously. The next item in the agenda is the chairman's report. The old business, we still have the handbook update. We have in attendance today, Chris Skelly. Welcome. An update is that we requested a grant extension from SHPO. We sent an email to Mary Dawn. We have not received anything back, so we'll wait on that. If Chris Skelly is interested in giving us a little update on the handbook, he can have the floor. Go ahead.
All right. You can hear me okay?
Yes.
Yep.
Yes, Chris.
Okay. Great. All right. It's coming along really well. Happy with how it looks so far. So I think since we last met, so I was in Fairfield for a day and met with Adam, had a good tour around. And then after that, took what we had for the file itself, which was a Word document, but a really messy formatted document. So even though I think the document itself needed some rearranging anyway, the MS Word document was a bit challenging to work through. So I've cut and pasted and reformatted the whole thing. I've got it into really good sections now. It's got a nice navigation pane on it to be able to work your way through the document. And then since then, I've really just tried to fill out all of the sections. So I've ended up with a number of questions on some of the sections, but I've got a lot of text written because I told you last time I had it set up so that it's different. It's in alphabetical order from all the different types of projects that you might come across. So right now I've got about 35 different types of projects that you might are likely to have. So everything from accessibility, architectural barriers, additions, art installations, awnings, chimneys, all the way down to trim, walls, siding, windows. So that's going to change a little bit because I haven't talked to you yet about what that list looks like. But I'm happy to hear there's a subcommittee. That's going to be great. So all those sections haven't been entirely filled out. So I have a bunch of questions on certain sections, and some of them you might want to pull out. And so like I have storefronts in there, but I know there's not that many storefronts in your districts, but maybe, I think Southport, I think that actually the project we just had earlier is a commercial building at that intersection. But other than that, there's not much for the way of storefronts in your 3 districts. So maybe you'd want to pull that out, or maybe you would feel like it's worth keeping storefronts in there for just a couple of buildings if there are any. So those are some of the questions I have to go over with you. I've organized each of the sections into a little paragraph about why each one of these things is important in terms of the significance of that kind of architectural feature. I've put in some things to consider. I've put in a goal statement, which if you like having a goal statement in your guidelines for each kind of project, we'll keep that in. If you're like, nope, that doesn't seem like that's going to work for us, I'll pull it out. But I think it's good to have a little bit of a goal in terms of what it just comes across as you can demonstrate that you really want to see things have that flexibility and see things really be of a viable use, and to have these areas really remain really active and vital parts of the community. So that's why I put that in. And then after that, I have the guidelines. So the guidelines might have a little section about repairing something, or maybe a section about replacing. They're sort of subdivided again to make it clear so that somebody can quickly look at the page and okay, are they replacing? Are they repairing? Are they adding something on? And quickly see the guidelines that are going to be most applicable to them. That's pretty much where I'm at right now. I feel like I'm a little bit of at not a stopping point. I can keep going more, but it would be really good to check in with the subcommittee and see how we're going, if I'm still heading in the right direction on everything. To go over all my questions that I have so far. There's some pieces that I would like to have some help obtaining. I talked to Rosina about the maps, having some better maps than what's in the existing document, because they're pretty fuzzy looking.
And one of them's incorrect too.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So we want to have better better maps than what we have right now. So all those things like that, I think are things that I would ready to meet with the subcommittee whenever you're ready. Other things I'd like to see in there would be a flow chart, and I'd really like to sit down with the subcommittee and talk about what that one-page flow chart would look like. To me, the guidelines are certainly going to be used by you at every meeting, but I like to think of the guidelines that you do them for number one for the applicants themselves, to make the application process as easy as possible. That really wants the primary thing about guidelines is that public relations piece there. And so having a flow chart is a really great idea, so that you can quickly, if you're not familiar with how you as a district commission work, you can quickly look at a flow chart and see how the process all comes together. I think there's going to be some things that I pulled out of your existing handbook that maybe you'll want in somewhere. I've simplified some things, some language in places. There's things that I think were a little bit too much detailed. So that's another thing with a subcommittee. Are there going to be some things that you would like to see back in here somehow that I've pulled out for now? Another thing I want to ask you about, if this is a subcommittee question or the full commission, was we had talked last time about having this be an online version.
Mm-hmm.
I've been moving forward on it in terms of it being a document, but I'm happy to do this any way you want it. I did have some concerns about having this be only accessible in an online fashion. I did talk to a number of colleagues, and they also expressed concerns about having a design guidelines that are only accessible online. There's a number of reasons, just in terms of accessibility, in terms of not everyone necessarily having easily accessible internet connection, or technological challenges in terms of being able to just have guidelines online. I also want to make sure that you have a copy of design guidelines, each of you, that you bring with you to every one of the meetings. So you want to be able to, every vote that you take on the at your commission meeting should refer back to this set of design guidelines. It's going to put you in a much better position in terms of any legal action. And I picture it being a little challenging with each of you having a laptop there, only seeing these through the town's website. So that's what some of the issues that I had brought up, and what some of my colleagues have brought up for concerns as well. I've only found one city that I could find. It's in the Midwest. I can't remember where it was, but I can, if you want to see it, I can send it the link. That did have a set of online guidelines, and it didn't sell me that it was a good idea. I think at the last meeting somebody suggested Newport had their guidelines all online.
Westport, I believe, is also all online.
Maybe it was Westport. Okay,
Westport,
I looked at
Connecticut,
Newport.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Okay, I'll look at Westport again. I thought I remember hearing Newport, and I looked at Newport, Rhode Island, and they definitely have a PDF version.
Well, they do both.
You can do it both, yeah. Okay.
Which is it allows the portability of being online, but they also have the hard copy.
Is it a PDF? Is the online version a PDF though?
Probably.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you would definitely want to do that. I mean, obviously, you want to make this really accessible through the web, and in the end, you're gonna have a PDF at the end that, yes, you would absolutely want to have up on your Historic District Commission's webpage.
Yeah, I think they have some of it is searchable, but most of it is PDF. So you're probably right.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Okay.
Right,
Any
happy
other-
to take any questions.
Yeah, I have a question, Rosina. Excuse me. Are you saying a goal statement or a goal statement? And can you give me an example of a goal?
Yes. Yep.
Whichever it is.
So if you were talking about, let's say, an addition, so we had just done an application regarding an addition, a four-season porch there. The goal statement could be something about wanting in the additions section of the guidelines. The goal statement could say something about wanting to see the possibility of new construction, additions in the district, so long as they are compatible with the existing building and the district as a whole. It just kind of gets it clear that you're not trying to stop projects here. You really want to see projects. You just want to see good projects.
Mm-hmm.
It's a good idea.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Any other questions? So in the next section for new business, we will be selecting the subcommittee. So we have not done that yet. So we're a little bit behind. We'll get you all the information once we select everyone. So, and hopefully we can move forward quickly. So, okay.
Do you want me to stay on? I can stay on through that if you would like.
It's up to you. Yeah, that will be fine.
Sure, I'll stay on.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Can you give us a list of you said you've got sections right now. Can you give us that list of focused areas that maybe we could just
31, right?
Make sure we're on the same page. And if we see anything that's glaring, not that we would, but
yeah, I think
just give us something to look at.
Yep. Yeah, that'd be great. Why don't I send you the whole table of contents, and that way you can see how the whole thing's the whole thing's going together.
I think that's a great idea. Thank you.
Good idea.
Thank you. So the next item is new business. First in the agenda is the CLG compliance. I am going to share Can everyone see my
It hasn't
screen?
opened yet, but I see your screen.
Didn't open yet, but we can see the screen.
Okay. Let's see. Hold on.
Do we need it open or should we just talk about it?
I was gonna share. Let me see if.
There it is.
Ah, there it is.
Okay. So two of us attended the meeting that Wilton offered with Preservation Connecticut, and that was on December 18th. And some of the things that they spoke about was the CLG, Fairfield being one of the CLG. So I'm gonna have Darren that has a better grasp of all of this discuss with you guys. So go ahead, Darren.
Okay. So Fairfield is a certified local government, CLG, and has been one for absolutely years. And CLG just means that we maintain a closer relationship with the State Historic Preservation Office than other places that don't have CLG. So one of the things that it opens for us is a number of different grants, like the HPEG, the Historic Preservation Enrichment Grant, and a Certified Local Government Supplemental Grant. It also extends grants to higher numbers. So for example, if we ever do a historic resource inventory, which we really, really need to do and should be doing every couple of years, instead of the requisite $20,000 survey and planning grant from SHPO, that would get increased to 30 grand because we're a CLG. So there's a number of things that we have to do because we're CLG to maintain compliance, one of which is we have to submit an annual report to the State Historic Preservation Office that's due by the end of September every year. I think it's by October 1st because that's when the year runs for CLGs, from October 1st to September 30th. And in that report, it gives a list of any changes that have happened to our commission, anybody who's come on as a full member, anybody who's come on as an alternate, any preservation initiatives that the town has undertaken, a full list of COAs that we have overseen, any training that we have done. And we also have to give affirmative action statements and a list of our latest audits. So it's a pretty comprehensive thing. But on top of that, there's certain training that we have to do because really, Rosina, if you could go back up for a second to the first page. One of the things that we really need to be doing is that our members should have not only a demonstrated interest, but it's really good if we have members that have knowledge in a specific historic preservation career, like landscape architecture, interior design, historic preservation, architecture, that kind of stuff. So when we don't have members with those professional qualifications, we are kind of told or encouraged to undertake training. So there's 3 different trainings that are offered every year. We have Robert's Rules, which is always good for people to go to. And then there's 1 or 2 different ones offered by the State Historic Preservation Office or Preservation Connecticut that are specifically Historic District Commission training programs. All of these are really good to go to, and we should all be going to them. And that goes into our CLG annual report. There's also additional free trainings that are offered by SHPO every once in a while. They're not very, very often, but there was a section 1081, section 1061 a couple of years ago. That was really, really great. And various other things like that. So any preservation training that you guys undertake, it's really good for Rosina and I, and certainly George, to know about it so that we can write it into our annual report. Rosina, I think that was kind of
Yep.
it.
Thank you. And there's also in the Preservation Connecticut meeting, they discussed that there's also short-term summer course that they will be willing to provide funding for. So those are always things to consider. So so this was just the 3 pages that they had in the presentation that talked about CLGs. So thank you, Darren, for informing everyone about the CLGs.
No problem.
The next item that we have is electronic submissions in lieu of hard copies. So we are still doing paper submissions, which can be a little bit tedious because the building department, everything that they do now, it's online. Same thing with, I believe, other departments in town, but we are still requesting 2 copies of hard copies and a bunch of different things. To make things a little bit more simplified, the IT department created a little form that will allow us to receive applications online, which I sent, and thank you to Jim Bohan, and I know Jack Francen's office did a testing, and Jack from the Sasquatch did also one testing of what this application is like. So I think it might be a good thing to explore, and perhaps for the net submissions, try to do them all electronically. I put together, and let me share it as well, a document that we have had in the past that is filing instructions.
Yep.
And I wanted to show you guys this to see if anyone agreed, disagreed, or what can we tweak on this document. It indicates an application for a certificate of appropriateness must be filed for any structure, proposed change, or addition to a structure in a historic district. Structures are defined as any building, fence, paved or unpaved, walked or driveway, terrace, swimming pool, etc. See historic district regulations and procedures for additional information. And then this is one of the statements that I figured we needed to change. The following shall be filed electronically prior to 3 p.m. on the deadline date. See schedule online, and it gives the website. So previously we were doing it, people used to go to the building department and give everything in person. So we will still require 1 completed PDF of the application form. In lieu of 2, I feel that 1 PDF of the plot plan drawn to scale showing the location of the proposed plan will be beneficial. And IT also created, not in the one that I sent you guys, but they also created an area that the applicant can upload the approved zoning compliance plan. So that will eliminate altogether the hard copies. Then item 3 will be a 1 complete collated PDF set of drawings to scale and a description of the materials to be used. The sets must be complete, showing both existing and proposed condition. Each page should be identified with the owner's name, address, and phone number. Each page should include a page number and a date of preparation and or revision. And number 4 will be 1 PDF set of photographs or tear sheets must be included if applicable to the application. Again, each page should be identified with the owner's name, address, and phone number. And number 5, it's any additional materials such as photographs, perspective drawings, models, samples of materials, etc., which are helpful and can be used or submitted at the time of the hearing. So all of this will be the things that they submit electronically through that testing page that I shared with everyone. The next one, it's a one PDF of the items 1 through 5 that must be emailed to the chairman of the commission to the email. I'm not sure if this is redundant, but I think for a few months, the redundancy might be good just in case anything gets messed up in the application. At least they get emailed, which is what they had been doing with the PDF. And then it continues to say fences, a drawing to scale is required. See items 2 and 3 above. It must show a typical section of a fence and gate. If different than the fence, all posts and post caps should also be shown. Swimming pools for in-ground. If the plot plan, see item 2 above, clearly shows outline of pool coping and any paving around the pool. Additional drawings may not be required. However, any items above ground, such as diving boards, lights, filters, etc., must be completely shown or described, including sizes, heights, locations, etc. Driveways, walks, terraces, etc., paved or unpaved that are flush with adjoining grade require only a plot plan showing the location of the proposed work. See item 2. Once driveway application is approved, a permit must be obtained from the engineering department. The next item I added just based on our past meeting and the information that we received from engineering and the town attorney. So for work on the public town right-of-way, the property owner applicant shall provide one-page engineering construction agreement form and or an encroachment street opening permit from the sewer department. And then it continues to the owner or representative must be present at the hearing. If no one is present, the application will be denied without prejudice. If additional help is needed, you might call the chairman of the commission. Names and numbers are available at the zoning or building departments or the town website. So this was something that I think might be helpful. And if we want to vote, discuss about it so that we can, let's say, move the commission a little bit more into the current century. So
I have a couple of questions.
Yes.
Biggest one, and I've said this before, one of the things I would really like to see for every application is a picture of the property in the streetscape.
Yes.
Like a current photograph. Because I think it really helps. And in every other sort of preservation application I've ever filled out, one is required. I think it's very important to see how the property fits into the streetscape in which it's set. I mean, and if it's just an individual local property, a picture of that property as seen from a public way, street, or place.
Yes.
So I really feel strongly about that. In terms of, if you could scroll down a little bit, I think there's some language at the bottom. The owner or representative must be present at the hearing. I agree with that. If no one is present, the application will be denied without prejudice. In other historic districts, historic district commissions, if no one is present, they usually take no action. I don't know what, I know we have a certain number of days to act on an application. I think it's 60. So this denied without prejudice is I guess fine, but usually I've seen it be take no action.
Okay.
Or no action taken.
Right.
It's not a bad idea.
Yeah, that's probably a good idea. And
Yeah.
it just rolls to the next meeting, right?
Yeah, we can put it on the next meeting, or if we're at the 60-day limit, if there's no action taken, we can't really,
Then
we're not voting. The point is we're not voting on it.
Right, but then they have to resubmit, but if it just rolls to the next meeting, then they can use their application and go to the next meeting.
Yeah.
Rosina, maybe we've covered this before. I'm confused about the need for number 2.
What's
Can
number
you
2?
scroll back up?
Number 2, basically, town planning and zoning always has to approve the site plans for any application that comes in front of HTC.
But how does number 2 differ from number 1?
Number 1 is let me take.
It's the
you to-
application form, which has the name of the name
Can
of
you
the
see
owner
what
of
I'm
the
sharing?
address.
This is number 1.
Okay,
Then this is number 2.
I see.
And then all the pictures will be, I
Right.
think, number 3 or 4. And let's say this is what Darren it's referring to as the views from the street.
Public way.
President, right.
And
Existing-
then
Existing condition.
what 515 had is this is the view of the entire house, but it will had been helpful also to have the whole
Right.
streetscape.
Yeah, she had a picture of the front of the house in it, but not from the streetscape. as well,
Exactly.
which I would find really, because that house happens to be set back very far from the street, more so than some of the surrounding ones. So it's just, that just helps me contextualize what's happening in the district.
Correct.
One last question. I raised an issue, God, it must be a couple of years ago. One section of the handbook says that landscaping can cover a multitude of sins. And the other section says, no, you have to judge the application assuming no landscaping. Has that ever been resolved?
That was something I brought up to Mary Dunn, and maybe Chris can jump in here. While I understand that sometimes we use landscaping as screening methodologies in perpetuity, it makes me very nervous because it's a bit of a gray area, because the Connecticut state statutes blatantly say we can't take into account landscaping. So I've always kind of felt not great about it. And SHPO couldn't really give me a very hard and fast answer on it. And I've never met anybody else that really could either. I've talked to Preservation Connecticut. I've talked to Stacy Farrow. Chris, I don't know in your wanderings if you've come across a hard and fast, but it's kind of one of those gray areas that I'm not sure has ever been really elucidated.
But the existing handbook, the handbook we had 4 or 5 years ago, there were
Yeah.
contradictions between 2 paragraphs.
Yeah, and I
Okay.
remember we talked about that when we were
Right.
all trying to overhaul the handbook before we got our grant to do so. And I think that's something that if Chris wouldn't mind just starring it, asterisking, putting bright arrows, putting flashing lights around it, I would really love to revisit and try to kind of establish a good answer to it, because I've never been able to kind of make sense of it in my head either. And I mean, I deal with it all the time and I still don't know.
I'm not saying I know the answer by any means, but
Yeah.
it's a glaring contradiction.
Oh, 100%.
Okay, thank you.
I can talk for a minute about it if you would like, Rosina.
Yes, go ahead.
That would be great.
Okay. Okay, great. We will definitely address that in the handbook. I did start that language already. So we do have a section on landscaping, and in that section, it talks about how landscaping is an exempt landscaping with plant material. So that's the other part. That's the other part you got to remember with landscaping. Defining what landscaping is. Landscaping with trees and shrubs is exempt. You know, if you guys say it that way, because lots of times people think landscaping means the stone wall, the fence, other kinds of hardscape structures that are part of landscape features, but in how you operate under your ordinance, those are going to be structures that would be reviewable. Whereas, as far as I can tell, trees and shrubs exempt from review. That's what my understanding is.
Yes,
That's not,
yes, that's true.
that's not the issue, Chris. The issue.
Yeah,
is-
no, I'll get to that. I'll get to the next part because I did.
Oh,
It's had the same issue in Massachusetts, so you're very similar to where we're at. So if trees and shrubs are exempt from review,
Right.
yes, for the most part, when you review an application, you review it as if those trees and shrubs are not there because they are screening something that could just disappear at any time. So it's best if you do your reviews as if trees and shrubs are not there. When I would do my training with local commissions, I would show this house with these enormous rhododendrons in front of the house, like 15 feet high rhododendrons. And all you could see on that house was a little bit of the roof.
Right.
And I would say, well, what's visible from the public way? And it would be a good way to discuss that. Well, you have to assume that those things could come down at any time. Now, the next part there is, what about if you make a project, say a mini split compressor or something, some sort of air conditioning unit that's off to the side of the building, clearly not compatible in the district, but an important piece of equipment to have, and that's the best location for it. You would like it to be less visible in the district. So as a condition of approving that mechanical equipment, you say it has to be screened with some sort of evergreen type of shrub. So I don't see any problem with doing that. In 23 years at the SHPO in Massachusetts, I never heard of any challenge to saying that you can make that a condition of the approval of a project. So yeah, you can, to me, there's a clear distinction there between just simply landscaping with trees and shrubs is exempt, and on the other hand, making screening with landscaping and with trees and shrubs actually a condition of the approval. That's a big distinction. So I've never seen that challenged. Now the problem, of course, is I think it brought up, who's going to remember that that's there, and what happens 10 years from now when those just get pulled out, and now the commission members have changed and it wasn't realized. No one at the commission at that point remembers that it was a condition of the additional application. That's definitely an issue. Of course, that's an issue with all kinds of local permitting, not just certificates of appropriateness with the district commission. I have examples where I live where,
your experience is you've never seen compulsory landscaping screening questioned.
I've never seen it questioned as, especially, definitely never saw any court case, any litigation related to requiring screening as part of a condition of an application. Yeah, that was Massachusetts. So, yeah, we could ask the SHPO if they're aware of any litigation for Connecticut.
But you've seen,
I could do some asking around with other states as well.
But you've seen compulsory screening as a condition of approval in the past.
Yes, definitely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
I just get worried because of what you said, Chris. Like, who's going to remember? You have to, these things you have to weed through every single COA to remember what these compulsory things are. So I tend to get nervous about them because, again, without the institutional longevity of people being on the commissions can change quite a lot. Nobody's going to necessarily remember, which becomes an issue.
But if the condition
Yeah.
is on the certificate of appropriateness, that's
Yeah, but the problem is 15 years from now, there might not be anybody around to remember that particular condition of a COA that happened however many years before.
Right.
That's the problem. That's always the thing that makes me feel kind of nervous about it. It becomes a jurisdictional upholding thing.
I see it in this issue with planning boards and zoning boards of appeals as well.
Yeah.
I can think of an example down the street from me, an auto repair shop got a special permit to sell used cars. And it was for a certain number of used cars. They could only have a certain number of used cars in the front of the building. Well, they did that for a while, and I'm pretty sure there's about 3 times as many cars in front of the building.
Of course there is.
Yep.
Oh, Everybody's having fun.
Thank you, Chris.
We
Yeah.
lost Chris.
All right.
Okay.
It's the guy that owns the lot.
Well, thank you, Chris.
Kicked everybody.
I think we should thank you, Chris, for the information.
Sure.
And I know some of this will come into play with the handbook as well. Even the filing instructions and all that stuff, we can continue to tweak it as the handbook gets put together. But I think for the time being, I don't know if we want to make a motion. I went ahead and updated the document to include in here a drawing or image of the streetscape, as well as a picture of the property as seen from the right of way. And then in the bottom part, the owner or representative must be present at the hearing. If no one is present, the application, no action will be taken.
I'll
for
make
the
a
applica-
motion to accept with the edit of that last line because it doesn't read
I know,
properly. It's missing a word.
for the application, not
Yeah.
action will be taken.
Yeah.
Oh,
Is there, so Darren makes the motion. Is there anyone that seconds? I'll go ahead and second. Anyone in favor of
yeah,
changing the filing instructions?
yep,
I
that's
am.
good. That's good.
So everyone just noting that Art left the meeting in the middle of our conversation for filing instructions. So it's
Oh.
only Darren, George, Jim A, and Jim B, and myself.
Regina, can I ask one thing?
Yes,
When you look at one of the applications that I know is coming up is for redoing the entranceway to the cemetery up on Greenfield Hill.
okay,
And it has like an arbor over it that you walk through when you go in. It's a little, but I don't know, that's not us. I'm not sure if that would qualify as a structure, but it should. And I don't know if it's defined, if your definitions would include that. And I couldn't read them because they were too small for me to read on the screen. But so I don't know if you've been up on Greenfield Hill, but there's a little walkway that you go through. Has a little, it has that red tile roof over it. They want to submit an application of appropriateness to redo the roof. And the question is, would that structure qualify? Does that structure need, I think it does need to be approved, they need an application, they need to be approved. But I'm not sure our definitions would include that.
I will have to look into the handbook, but I believe it will be part of structures.
Okay, as long as, yeah, I just want to make sure it's covered. And then I'll let them bring forward their application. It's coming next month or the month after.
Okay. So we've completed the electronic submissions. Next is subcommittee for guidelines and handbook. So we, in the past, when we were trying to do everything in-house, we had a sort of a subcommittee. Years past, Darren tried as well, and we had a small committee. So for this time around with the grant, we do need a proper subcommittee. So is there any interest of anyone that's present here today to be part of the subcommittee?
I would like to be part of the subcommittee.
So Darren,
I
myself,
regret that, but he will have to deal with me.
is there anyone else that's interested in being part of a subcommittee? Hearing none, so we do not have Maura Garrett here today, but we'll reach out to her as well to see if she wants to be part and see how we can move this forward. But is there a motion to create the subcommittee for the guidelines handbook?
I'll make a motion to create a subcommittee to look over the handbook.
And I'll second it.
Is there any discussion?
We need this.
Yeah.
Very good. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So everyone in favor, Darren, George, Jim A, and Jim B, as well as myself. So the motion passes. So Chris, you have now a subcommittee that you can reach out to both Darren, myself, and maybe one of the alternates. If she's interested, we can have her join as well. So
Okay. So is it, I'm still on. Okay.
yes.
Will this be, is this still need to be posted, and can we email each other? Can I send an email out to both of you and have you both respond?
Yes.
So just want to make sure you're meeting all of your open meeting requirements.
Yeah, there won't
if I
be,
just-
we won't hit 3 people, which is what we need for a vote. So we won't have a quorum. So it's fine to email us both and we can respond.
Okay.
Okay.
Great.
And then the next item is what my mistake was. I put Darren's house, so maybe we can make a motion to amend the agenda. Instead of saying Darren's house, to say the Caroline and Walker Sherwood house at 515 Stilson Road. Is there a motion?
I don't know that we can do that. I think it has to be noticed with the
Okay.
address. I've waited this long. I can wait another month.
So we'll postpone it till the next time then.
Yeah, it passed, just for reference, it passed SHPO. They had one small change that I put in, that it's 0.33 acres. It's already on the state register, so there's no surprises there. We just have to, P&Z has voted on it. It just needs to pass us and then get shoved on to RTM.
Okay, so we'll put it properly in the next agenda.
Yes,
My
please.
apologies for that.
And I believe it will have to be in the main body of it's not old or new business, because we have to take it has to be a public meeting.
Okay, I'll put it as part of all the applications.
Yeah, so it would have to be noticed as something like to take action on the study report for 515 Stilson Road, Fairfield, Connecticut, yada, yada, yada.
Okay. I'll reach out to you to get the right wording for the next notice.
Okay, sounds good.
Is there any other new business that anyone would like to discuss? Hearing none, is there a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I'll
I'll second it.
So that's Jim Bohan, I guess, right?
That's. Go for it,
George
Jim.
gives up.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Everyone's in favor. So have a good evening and thank you very much.
Thank you, Rosita. Well done.
Thank
And the
you.
time
Chris,
is
I'm looking forward to
5:29.
working with you.